about to get evil. Enemy soldier incoming.
The Lamborghini hypercars are down Fiat and Matteo Caroni. Matteo Jaminet is down in 16th place after the damage sustained, and he has dropped a lap. Right now, we are the leading 12 on the lead lap. That's all. We're back to race conditions, but we also have a yellow flag at Marshall's post 30.
On all threats. Watch your ass down there.
Listen in.
I know everything on the tires and I don't know everything. Secure as much cash.
Yeah, we know. We are checking. What's everything under the tyres? All the grip?
Tyre temp.
Yeah.
I would imagine tyre temp. You know what you can do as a driver in that scenario is under safety full course yellow. Yes, you can't go fast, but you can keep your foot, you know, riding the brake a little bit just to keep warm through the rim of the wheel, which then, you know, finds its way into the tyre as well.
That's Ricard Schiavone, getting it wrong, losing it, charging the barriers, and he has got going again, hence we've gone back to green flag conditions, and that was how it was seen from behind. Big whack, external view.
Traction control not catching that one.
No, you're right.
I mean, the other thing is he's exited the corner with just a little bit too much lock on. He should just try and straighten that wheel out and use all the track available.
But it's an odd place to go off that. You don't often see cars at that point. Further round, maybe, but not there.
Yeah. As Peter said, if you've got, you know, a bit too much throttle on slicks, on wets, you can lose it anywhere pretty much, to be honest.
I am with Pierre Alves at Michelin here under the tent where all the tires are being prepared. Pierre, can you just tell us about the process here under the workshop?
So here there is no surprise, you know, we receive at the moment used tires that have been used by all the cars, the hypercar, and after here we are taking the old tire, the used tire, and we fit a new one, so to fit the tires on the machine. And after we inflate them up to 6 bars maximum to the tire to be in the right position, and after we are balancing it to make sure that there is no vibration when the tire is on the car.
Okay, now the weather is just changing. We've seen some rain coming in. So how does it change the strategy of work for you and for the teams?
So for Michelin, you know, we're working very closely with every car manufacturers in hypercar. So we have everything ready all the time in the garages. So we have the slicks, the 2 compounds, the 3 compounds available, and also the wets. And we see that now the conditions are changing, so probably the team's going to request to fit a little bit more wet tires than expected.
Can you tell us what strategy and what team are doing right now? I guess not.
Yeah, it's quite, you know, it's always easier to know which strategy was the best after, because before, you know, it's a gamble also from the driver. So now I think we saw that the drivers are choose to use wet tires because we have quite a lot of rain and water standing on the water on the racetrack.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, and we're going to catch up later to see how the race comes back.
Thank you very much.
The 2024 Le Mans 24 hours and contact there. That was 23. Orica being turned around by Maxime Martin.
Yeah, you've got a situation like that where Martin, I don't know who's driving the P2 car, but
Ben Hanley.
okay, he's a good driver, but perhaps he's on slicks and Martin's on wets, and he's just got more grip. And you know, the P2 driver's not expecting a GT driver to come back at him like that.
Sure. So Maxime Martin hits 23, number 60 goes into the garage.
Bit clumsy by Martin, I have to say. You know,
He's not like him, that.
You know, you know it's wet. You know some people on slicks. You can clearly see the car in front struggling. And he's just rammed it, basically.
James Cottingham is under investigation for a full course yellow possible infringement. James Cottingham, another of the Le Mans rookies this year. Let's listen to Kubis's radio messages again.
Uniform, I don't know what to do. Don't have any petrol, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Keep pushing, keep going.
A gearbox alarm then for Robert Kubica, the race leader. The team say keep pushing.
Engineer didn't seem that fussed.
No, and presumably they'll have telemetry, they'll be able to identify what that problem is, and if they don't think it's an issue, crack on.
You sometimes have parameters for the alarm to come on that are a little bit unrealistic, so it's over-cautious, but actually what it does is means that everyone's aware that there's probably a big light flashing on the telemetry now, but then they can look into it further and go, actually, it's only 3 degrees above the parameter we set it at, so actually we're all right, which sounded like they were basically saying, okay mate, crack on, thanks for letting us know.
Bit worried again about the 99 Proton Porsche, with work being done underneath. That lost laps early on with the pesky door, remember? And back to the garage it goes. Carl Watanabe is also under investigation, the Isotta driver, for a full course yellow possible infringement. That's number 7 Toyota. 8th, Nick De Vries, one of the 18 ex-Formula 1 drivers on the grid. Next time we have a full course yellow, we can play name all 18. Kill a lap or 2.
I think I get 5. 6. Although there's a massive chart behind it with all the name ones, so I'll have to not look at that. Now, 311 is
Rani, what's he doing for tyres?
How do you think the tires are? Can we go to slicks? Can we go to slicks? Copy.
2 laps away from slicks.
So the only hypercars on slicks are the 50 and the 51. Everyone else is on wets.
Or Dave just put slicks on.
Okay, but from what we've just heard from Pipo Derani, the road is starting to shift back to slicks.
Yeah.
So the time lost, they might be able to get back. The really interesting one in all of this is going to be Giovinazzi, because he needs to get back on the lead lap somehow, doesn't he?
So when you're in that situation, I think sometimes you can throw the dice, you can take the risky calls because you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. But the reason they're in that position is because they made a risky call.
Yeah, they threw the dice at the wrong time.
Yeah, they may as well carry on.
Well, yeah, carry on.
Keep throwing all your chips are in.
You've got to win sometime, haven't you?
Double down.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting, as I say, to see what the chances are of that car getting back onto that lead lap. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's listen to Bourdais.
Okay, set your bars, set your bars.
Talking about the roll bar there, each car's got the ability to soften off the roll bars. Cool conditions or hot, if it's a well gripped up track, you might run a stiffer bar, but in a wet condition or when it's a bit slidey, you'd have a softer bar to help you gain some more grip. And obviously it's still a bit damp out there, so it might be soft at the moment, but as the track dries, he'll be able to stiffen the car up.
On track, Giovinazzi is coming out of the second UK, as coming through Mulsanne corner is the lead car. That's the amount of real estate that Giovinazzi's got to get back and then overtake to put himself on the lead lap. So we need to start looking at lap times soon, between 83 and then 51, to see if he's catching.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Nicholas Nielsen last time around, 3:56. And okay, I think we had a bit of yellowing during that time as well. Did we? Maybe not, but
we did, you're right.
The fastest car on wets was 3:50, was it? Yeah, or 3:49.
Doing replays of more people going off the road.
That's a close one. Oh, you just about got away with that.
Did it? Well done. Right, so last time, Robert Kubica did a 3:52 and Giovinazzi a 3:56 on his slick tyres. So it's still advantage to the wets at the moment, but that might well shift.
One more lap, it might change.
But as I say, not only has Giovinazzi got to have the road come to him, then he's got to be lapping quicker than Kubica, and he's got to pass him. He's got to somehow get that lap back. That's the really interesting point for the next half an hour or so.
And the thing is, we're coming close to the end of this stint anyway, where they have to change tyres. So, yeah, Ferrari definitely lost out from this.
Imagine Ferrari, yeah, 50.
Yes,
yes, I think the 83 is just do another 2 or 3 laps on these wets and then box and go to slicks. It's like perfect.
Yeah,
could not have called it better.
Indeed. Yellow at Marshall's post 25, and that's the reason, because on the road is Bourdais. Now he's on slicks, he's just gone on to slicks.
Cold slicks, yes.
Thankfully he's managed to hook up reverse and the car isn't beached, so he's able to quite quickly get back on the road.
So that's Indianapolis. Slick tyres catching out Sebastian Bourdais. So we heard from another Cadillac driver the road was about 2 laps away from being slicked. Bourdais went early, if you like, and this is how he got there, Peter.
Oh, he's got super lucky there.
Has he ever?
Well, apart from not being beached, he's not in the wall either.
Whoa, look at that. Let's listen in.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
You're alright, man, you're alright. Yeah, lucky not to get beached, lucky not to hit anything. Save of the day,
Oh, anyone hit him while he's just behind as well.
Anyway, back on track, and the bespectacled Frenchman then, study of concentration, tries to make amends. That car, don't forget, has also fallen off the lead lap. And that took a lot of help life either with that slow lap time just put in. The 311 has just pitted Pico Durrani, so I wonder whether they are going to put that on slick. Having just seen, will they not quite get it right?
I think the right call now is, though, if you're pitting, it's got to be a soft slick.
Yeah, because the road is coming to you.
Regardless of whether you've seen people fall off or not.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the 5 Porsche, which was second, has now pitted and drops down accordingly. Slicks again. The wet's off, slicks on.
Yeah, soft next time.
But Porsche going on to wets, again, that's worked in their favour because we've seen number 5 and number 6 both get back up towards the pointy end of the order. So yes, Ferrari, certainly with 51, has been the big loser. 50, it's still there or thereabouts in 4th, but 51 losing a lap in this stint, that's been the big loser.
Yeah, but car 50 is 1 minute 50 down.
It is.
But I don't think we've seen the last of dodgy rain, dodgy conditions. So, you know, I think this is where you've just got to keep your head as a driver, keep your head as an engineer. Yeah, we've talked about rolling the dice, but maybe don't do it too much. And, yeah, stick to your guns and hopefully the race will come back to you.
Maxime Martin, Ben Hanley both being looked at for that incident we saw a little while ago. More bail for the pit lane on an ever-drying circuit now. So, again, a reasonably short, sharp shower, wetting different parts of the circuit to differing levels, giving the pit lane, the drivers, everybody really a total headache of what to do. Heading up there, look through the Dunlop chicane onto the Dunlop S's. I didn't realise until Friday when I ran around this place just how bad that section of the circuit is, but when you go very slowly, you're aware of it.
Yes, I'm very quick.
Yes.
When you go very quickly, you're very much aware of it.
Right, Nick de Vries down towards the chicane and to the pit lane. The Toyota is 8th on this in-lap, so cycle through for another set of soft slicks, we presume. Also in is Jensen Button behind him, and Mathieu Jaminet, number 4. So that car, after being involved with the Iron Dames Lamborghini, has lost a big chunk of time. It's off the lead lap and down in 16th place. The number of cars on the lead lap has really dwindled in this last hour.
What are we down to? 12, did we say? 12 on the lead lap, is that correct?
It was 12, we're down to 11 now. And that's slightly corrupted because of these pit stops for the moment. Slicks for Toyota. That car's not, as I said earlier on, it hasn't come storming through from the back of the hypercar grid as one might have anticipated, but it's still in the mix. And it will rejoin still with Nick de Vries at the wheel of it, the former AlphaTauri Formula 1 driver. That's another one to add to your list.
And the lead car's still out there. Ah, the lead car's in the pits.
Good now, it could be saying. Yeah.
So they could not have timed it any better.
Yeah, they are just going perfectly right now. And good stints by Kubica, who's going to stay in the car, by Robert Schwarzman, by Ye Yifei, as Martin Hageman was saying earlier on, the Chinese driver who is the real deal, was very good in single-seaters, but has really stood out in sports car racing. Now, drive-throughs to the Isotta, and also James Cottingham's McLaren for full-course yellow infringements.
Kubica's stopped early though.
How many laps did he do?
Lap 7.
Okay, no, that is early.
He's done 7 laps, so
Yeah.
he's probably lap 8.
But 12 to a stint, yeah, it is in much earlier. But if the road is drying, then he needs to know.
And the good thing is that they're keeping him in the car as well, so the driver who's going out doesn't have to have the 50-50 scenario. He knows where the wet patches are, he knows where the dry is, where to take a risk and where not. So it's good that they've kept the same. Oh, just as I say that, he's on the top of the track.
In from second place, now number 8 Rio Car.
Vina Tarabaka, 150 let, uchováváme náš odkaz.
Who doesn't feel like he's been in it for that long, last away. This might be the same thing, but the wets were just losing their edge and they had to shorten the stint.
Yeah, exactly the same. He's done 7 laps, so lap 8 for him.
So it's a tyre-induced pit stop, that, not with in terms of a puncture, but just we're on the wrong set. We need to change because we're going to hemorrhage time. Okay.
So Nicholas Nielsen moves back to second place, but of course, in about 3 or 4 laps time, he's going to have to pit as well.
Yes. And also Giovinazzi goes back on the lead lap, but he's owing us a pit stop as well. So they're
not bad. So he's on lap 6 right now. So he's happy to
yeah.
So if he can make up the time now with a hot tyre and pull far enough ahead of the guys just coming out on these cold slicks, then he could potentially bring himself back onto the lead lap.
The last lap of Kubica, which I know is a bit of a road because he came into the pit lane, was a 3:58. So in terms of competitive amounts of the lap, it would be a little bit less than that, whereas Giovinazzi's last lap was at 3:47. So the first flying lap for Kubica relative to Giovinazzi's pace will be very revealing indeed. This is the order that's rolling through on the screens all at the moment. You can see the leading car in LMGT3, number 46 BMW, Maxime Martin, under this Damocletian investigation with the contract with Ben Hanley. LMP2 is being led by the Vector Sport, number 10, Orica, that Ryan Cullen has been keeping at the pointy end of that class. Stefan Rakelmi is in it. Patrick Piret is the third driver. Second in the class, Malte Jakobsen for Cool Racing, and third B-Joy car for United Autosports.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Maxime Martin's going to get a penalty for that, isn't he? He's going to get some form of drive-through. I think so. Yeah.
So that's the classification. Only 3 confirmed retirements. 1 Ferrari out of our GT3 and both of the Alpine hypercars. And for both of them to have gone even before 10:30, that's not really great for Alpine's management to be here to see. It's not great for a French crowd. That's a real kick.
Yeah, they've certainly got a little bit of work to do with that. To you know, at the end of the day, it is endurance racing, so you've got to be able to finish the race before, you know, it doesn't matter how quick or slow you are. But you know, all of these test programs, you put the work in, you do the testing, you go endurance testing to check all your components. But then the minute you come racing, it's just a different kettle of fish. You cannot. You can't simulate racing, you can't simulate the curves, they're hitting people, all sorts, it's different.
But they didn't even get to 6 hours, which I can't stand the WEC run. I'm not trying to be a peasant, but you know, if you're going to be in an endurance championship, reliability is absolutely key, isn't it? Yeah, I know Le Mans is a special case, but you ought to be able to do the minimum race distance, as it were, for the other rounds of the championship. So next, going on to 38, Jensen Button stays behind the wheel of the car and charges away. Tries to throw some warmth through the tyres. We keep mentioning this tyre warmth element. If you've recently joined the coverage, and welcome. Why we're banging on about tyre temperatures, it is because this is the first year of the event that tyre warmers have not been allowed. And Murphy's Law also says it's the coolest that it has been at this race for many, many years. It is not a warm weekend. It's not only been raining at times, it's been pretty chilly all weekend.
From the driver's point of view, you know, when you hear no tyre warmers, you just, you know, you think, why do we have to have no tyre warmers? You know, we are at this circuit, you know, trying our best. As a driver, purely driver, I do understand the other reasons, but purely as a driver, Peter, I'm sure you'd agree, you just love tyre warmers. It's so much better.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I know that one of the arguments to remove tyre warmers is cost. The flip side of the coin, cold tyres, is safety. Which trumps which?
Yeah. And if you put the car off and smash it up, that cost is way more than.
It's a fair point. 3 wide in the traffic. Look at that. Breathe in. If you see a car breathe in, you know it's tight. I think it just happened. The hypercars on the prowl.
Jensen Button having a moment, yeah, of course, just out of
that.
just as we've said, you know, cold tyres, long straight, no heat, and slightly damp.
Thank you, Johnson. You couldn't have timed that better to illustrate the point. Well done. You must be listening to us. So that car...
They're weaving now, trying to...
Yes.
But the thing is, there's only a short, a very thin line of dry track.
Jensen Button in 12th place. That's a great shot, isn't it? You see how narrow the road is, and how dark it is as well.
The first sector must be drying up quite nicely. A couple of green sectors for a few GT cars. So actually...
Who's that one going right? Is that... What are those lights? For the BMW? Yeah. So it was one of the BMWs that ran wide as well.
Number 20, remember Robin Prince crashed it earlier on. He's now having to have the...
Almost looked like a touch, or there was a bit of a wiggle on the back end then, was it?
Was that the crest of the road? Just having a bit of a...
Yeah, a bit loose.
I've just finished my Robin Frid sentence. Rear drive shaft, rear brakes being changed on number 20 after the crash earlier on. And there is 15 with massive damage at the front. Dries van Thor, for the third time this weekend, has put the car off the road. That looks terminal, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I think that's the car we saw a minute ago that just ran straight through the gravel. So he had a problem of some description. And he's
cold tyres.
He's got a big problem now. He's on an outlet.
You're right, yeah.
He's on an outlet.
Cold tyres, that's what it is. He's just taking the wets off, put the slicks on.
This is on board.
And it was a touch. It was. Right. That was a touch with Kubica.
Wow. Oh, that's going to get looked at, and the mirror falls down, or the screen falls down, and Van Thor, like, what was that?
That was well spotted, Peter. It was just, you saw it, we were on board the Ferrari at the time, and as he was passing, there was the slightest little wiggle.
Disbelief. He just can't believe what's just happened.
He has just been knocked out of the race, hasn't he? A totally committed Kubica, a yellow flag is out, and I think they realise that's game over. That can't be driven back, can it? With that front left wheel at that angle, that's done.
Absolutely not.
So, BMW, race winners in 1999 in the top class. Both cars have crashed. One is still going, albeit badly delayed and more repairs needed. But as far as 15 is concerned, that looks like it's game over.
Yeah, down at Bolzan as well, furthest place away possible. So, in terms of drivers got to go get himself back. Yeah. Disaster.
It is, but will Kubica get a penalty for that? If race control have another look at it, we'll get another replay, I'm sure.
Well, they're certainly going to look at that. There's no two ways about it. But that's the thing. What do you give? Does something like that warrant just a drive-through or a 10-second?
Our first safety car of the race. First safety car of the running of this year's Le Mans 24 Hours, and of course under the safety cars, there are 3. They'll all be picked up around the circuit. Once the incident is clear for the restart, they'll all be put behind one, and then all the gaps will come down. So this now is going to be really interesting as they clear the 15 BMW out of the way.
And I think it could be very good news for the 51 car, who went that lap down, who now is back, because they pitted more recently. They're back on the lead lap.
Enemy soldier incoming.
Certainly a different complexion of the race. We'll see how it all works out.
That's not good news.
It's smoky, in fact there's a lot of liquid all over the front of that. So what's up the front of that car?
Radiators.
I see.
That is steam, that is radiators. That looks like, usually that's a result of some front end damage. And I think the bumper looks like it's down on one side as well, so that, I don't know if he's had a little off, kissed the barrier, or...
As Brendan Reeve that brought it in, and that does not look good. This is going to be a long stop, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd like to see a replay if we could see that.
And those are the concerned faces at WRT, so as we were suggesting with the conditions, suddenly lots of teams in drama. That was the pole car out of LMGT3.
That's incredible, the speed that they could just disassemble that front, have that whole front off the car.
And safety car on track then, because not only is there a car to be retrieved in the darkness, there's debris as well, so there'll be an element of clearing the track here, won't there? Yeah, he's listening, isn't he?
Well, caught that a little bit too late. We need to see that from a little bit further back.
Massive impact, and Dries Thorpe complaining that his left foot is hurting, but he's out of the car. He'll have a trip to the medical centre to be checked over, but that's very bad news indeed. And the BMW out of the race then. Blue impact light on inside the car, but we know that Vanthoor is okay and out of it. But yes, it rattles its way over a bollard, parks on the inside of Mulsanne corner, and there is Dries Vanthoor walking away, and a trip to the medical centre beckons. There is the end of the race as far as the BMW crew is concerned. Let's listen.
Okay, we're back in this thing. We're gonna all bunch right back up. Good job, bud.
That was the folks Jones at Cadillac to say that Pipo Derani, thanks to the safety car, is now back at the races. But
that's the way this race works. It's, some people are unfortunate and they come across trouble like that, and then other cars suddenly get brought right back into the race. 311 being one of them, and the 51 I think being the other.
Somebody's paid, somebody's gained. So that now brings up onto the lead lap, 311 again, and back at the races. Now we'll start to see where different cars are around the different safety cars, but they all end up behind one in the end, ready for the restart. The 70 Inception McLaren is almost finished the rebuild, ready to go back out in double quick time. Robert Kubica under investigation, as is Dries Vanthoor for that incident. No surprise from what we've been saying, what we saw, but just to make the point, Robert Kubica and Dries Vanthoor under investigation. Well, there's no penalty that can be offered to Vanthoor, they're out of the race, penalty enough. But for Kubica, something may be in the system, we'll wait and see.
So the important thing to remember here is that while all three safety cars are on track, you're able to go to the pits. But when it comes to one, you're not allowed to enter the pits.
Well, while we are under safety car, let's take a chance to look at some features and behind the scenes from earlier in the week. Louise went to visit Total Energy.
I'm with Thomas Fritsch, Technical Director for Total Energy's Motorsport. Now, biofuel has been with WEC and Le Mans for quite a few years now, and we worked really hard with all of the teams to make sure that it was the optimum fuels for the performance.
Yeah, sure. It's now the third time we are doing Le Mans with this 100% sustainable fuel, Excellium Racing 100. We are very happy about that, and yeah, long work to get the perfect formula, but I think we can say that we found it.
And before we talk about what you're doing actually here, let's talk about there's 62 cars. They run for 10 hours of practice before we even do the 24-hour race. That is a huge amount of fuel that you have to bring here, manage, distribute. So how does that all work?
That's a long work, because we start 1 month before, just starting delivering the fuel in the underground tanks of the old paddock, under the pit wall. In fact, the fuel goes under the pit lane and gets to the pump in every garage. So the overall amount is 300,000 liters of fuel for the whole event.
Goodness, that is incredible. So you must have to refill at some point.
Yeah, last night during after the hyperpole, we brought 2 big trucks and we top up all the tanks.
Incredible. Now here we are in scrutineering. This is where you test the fuels when the cars come in. So just explain that process to us. What are you doing here?
In a few words, it's like, after a race, like every sport, it's like anti-doping testing. So we check if the fuel is exactly the same that we deliver to the competitors to be sure there's no cheating.
Okay, so
yeah. So basically, we use this machine called a gas chromatograph. We take the fuel sample from the car just after the race, and we put it in that machine that is 50 meters long, very small column, like a air in fact, and that allows to separate all the molecules from the fuel. So that's called fuel fingerprint, and we're able to compare the fuel sample in the car and the fuel as a reference from our factory.
What's the minimum amount of fuel you need in a car? Because obviously some of the tactics here are to run the car as light as possible. So what's the minimum amount you need to be able to take these tests?
For this analysis, it's very low because we take this 100 milliliter sample, we transfer into that, but finally in the machine, it's a needle we inject, so it's 0.2 microliter.
Okay, so they can really
very,
push
very
it.
tiny amount. And we can detect lower than 0.1% contamination in the fuel.
And that was my next question then. What happens? What is contamination and what happens?
Contamination can be several stuff. Cheating, we never, of course, observe that. It could be some mishandling of the fuel or some stuff. The only thing we are here as fuel analysts, fuel specialists. So we test the fuel, we make a report to the stewards, and we let the steward handle the sporting issues.
Lovely, thank you.
Safety car on track at Le Mans, and it is Ferrari in the lead. Robert Kubica, the man behind the wheel of the lead car, but there is an investigation into the contact between him and Dries Van Thor, which has put Dries Van Thor's BMW out of the race, and been the catalyst for this safety car. Remember, the hypercars all on Michelin tyres. Soft, the white walls, mediums are the yellow walls, hards are the red, and we see quite a bit of the blue walled wet tyres. But now, everybody's got rid of those again and are looking at using the softs, the most popular, the quicker compound, now that the road is dry once more. Pit lane opens, traffic accelerates away. On board with Nicholas Nielsen. So the Ferrari, fourth when it came in, still very much in the mix. Of course, we talk about Ferraris, you've got the factory Ferraris run by AF Corsa, 50 and 51, and then the privateer AF Corsa Ferrari, and that's the one in the lead of the race. And they have been really good on getting the tyre call exactly right, whereas 50 and 51 haven't quite nailed it as well.
But, yeah, absolutely right, but now, with this safety car, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, all bets are off, or all bets are on.
Nicholas Nielsen then has just left the pit lane. Most recent conversation was this.
The target now is to save fuel and save energy. We save fuel, save energy, okay? And we wait for the merging. We wait for the merging.
The merging being when the three safety car lines become one. Three safety cars are used to neutralise the race. Gaps between safety cars are necessary for the marshals to clear the incident. Pit stops are allowed. And then, as Rob was explaining, once the incident is clear, we have one line, pit lane is closed, and that's ready for the restart, effectively.
But then you can get a pass around in that scenario. So the pass around only occur when everyone is in one line.
Yeah.